talking to other people, when I tell them what Emakina has done for us, they are amazed. Like, not all the companies have this as a standard. For us, it was like, oh yeah, this is what every company should be doing. And it's not the case. So one of the playbooks, which is about having a caring remote culture, came out of the idea, okay, why don't we just write down everything that we do internally for our people and share it with our customers or anybody potentially interested about it. My first worry was about how comfortable and healthy can we be sitting so long behind endless conference calls daily, when normally you don't have at home the same investment you have in an office in ergonomics, for example.
Yes.
So we have the luxury of the standing tables we have at Emakina. Over there, I sit on a ball because I don't use a chair. So, okay, how is this going to be at home? And how I'm going to survive this if it takes so long? And even if you have the space, then you also have the worry about, is this good enough to still be working as good as we can in the office? What we did is we asked everybody, what do you need from the office to work from home? And there were almost no limitations to, maybe the coffee machine is the one we couldn't get. But chairs, tables, extra screens, anything, you name it. And the people, so we rented a van, and the people delivering that were our own colleagues. And then we were in the first week of the lockdown, very scared and uncertain about everything, and not being able to see people, not able to see your colleagues. And at least you saw your colleagues coming with the van, bringing all the stuff, and all of a sudden you could recreate a bit of the comfort you will get in the office at home. That was, for me, was the greatest first surprise in this situation where we were all in panic. But immediately, I think HR, but also our managers did a great job to keep us involved, informed. But also they were very good at acknowledging the personal situations. So first is, what do you need from the office to do your work? But then what do you need at home to keep on working properly? So people who are very alone will feel very lonely in this situation, right? We have a lot of colleagues that just moved to Amsterdam, no family around, and they live in an apartment alone without other mates sharing the flats.
I'm one of those people. I mean, I've lived here a long time, but I do live alone. Yeah. One thing I really noticed was, if you've got more advice about this, it'd be really interesting, is that the communication was there, but it wasn't invasive. It was more offers of support rather than you have to do it a certain way. So I felt I had access to all the things I needed, but I didn't feel, that I had to fit into some kind of preordained, this is how how it has to work now. It felt very flexible, but supportive at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. It felt like, okay, what do you need? And not like what we think that you need to do or that you have to do. I think also it was crucial that the communication was, as you say, not invasive, but very thoroughly. So there was the right amount of information with the right dose of being realistic, but also being positive, because we are going to get out of this, right?
No one was pretending that they had all the answers or anything like that.
Yeah, and you know how it goes in business. It's not just, okay, it's very important that the people are okay and they get supported, but then it's the harsh reality of for how long are we going to have money to pay salaries, how is the relationship with our customers, a lot of things that we normally day to day, we don't have to deal with. But at this stage, we needed to know. And in that sense, I think it was very well managed, because in the communication, the vulnerability was explained. So we are here as a company, as a group, but also we are individuals. And despite of the role you play, we are all shocked. And we are all trying to find out what is the best to do. And I didn't have a feeling, I don't know how it was with you, but everything was so clearly explained, even the risks at the beginning when we didn't know what the government will do.
Absolutely. I think there were two big anxieties. The first was the getting sick, which was handled, but at the same time, there was a lot of public communication about that, a lot of see what does the government say, what does the doctor have to say, but also there's the second thing, which is what does this mean for business, how things are going to work, the health of the company, are we all going to get to keep our jobs, all of that stuff. And those things, what was impressive was the communication to get right out in front of that, saying these are the things that you're probably worrying about. These are very precise answers, yes, no, literally an updated, an ongoing list of this is the status of all those things.
And even if it could be bad news that some contracts will be terminated with customers, there was a plan also for that. And but from a very human perspective, and I think also the frequency was very good. At the beginning, we needed more information with a lot of Zoom conferences. And then we switched more to less frequency with some emails. And then we had the interactive Friday drinks.
Yes.
That's also what these tools help us a lot, that people can raise their hand, because we were like 80 people in that call.
It works very well. For extroverts in particular, this has been more difficult psychologically. So it's great to see things like those Friday drinks, virtual, but still there, for the people who need to have that higher degree of interaction with colleagues in order to gain that energy. Some people gain a lot of energy through interaction. Others, introverts, will gain energy by going away and reading and studying and come back and bring that.
And you need a very strong HR department that allows these moments of that are private and confidential to really listen to your own situation and help you to think, how can you approach this conversation with your manager, or if there are already any flexibility that you can use around, because homeschooling and homeworking. Yeah. The first week, to be honest, it felt quite okay, and we adapted to that. But then the materials at school started to get challenging, because the first week was a sort of review. Everybody was adjusting to the new plans, but then they were getting into new stuff, and the kids needed help. So I had those situations, and I approached HR, and it feels very good to have this moment that that you are talking to someone only to be heard, even if there is no solution always at hand. That opening that door for the people in your organization makes them feel that we are caring for each other, that we are here to care. And then the next step is finding the right solution. So I took some holidays, and I reduced a bit the working hours, and everybody was super flexible about it.
Yeah. So what's the advice then from if we're in terms of, I guess if you're in HR, and we've seen some very successful HR actions and activities and things set up, what are the things that we're advising in our playbook that we would say generally to HR departments that we've tried and worked very well?
First one, facilitating the healthy and effective workplace at home. So their HR helped a lot with the logistics, but that was, I have to say, an Emakina effort, because the guys that brought the stuff, at least to my place, were tech leads and people from the project teams. So not all the HR people, but they were awesome to organize it. Then the second one is to keep this community vibe alive. With the drinks, but also helping each other. We have ex-colleagues coming back to give us Zoom lessons in fitness, yoga, you name it. So it was a door open, let's say, to everybody that had another talent or knowledge that they could bring to help each other in this situation.
In terms of tools and communication, how important do you think that is versus more the ideas and the initiatives and the tone and the attitude?
The tools are tools. They support us, and it's important to find the right one. Now HR implemented a new tool called Vibe to understand how people are feeling, and you can gather feedback weekly and in an anonymous way as well. So it's about your situation, but also about how you perceive the company. So I think that it's a great tool, but in the end, what are we going to do with all that data we gather is what's important, and that the culture component and how the people in the teams feel that it's much more important than any collaboration or Zoom video conference we're using.
Yeah, true. Although I must say the fact you can have 100 people on a Zoom call is great. And I think what's really stood out is our normal company meeting frequency was, I think, once a month, but we're doing them once a week at the moment. And that increase in frequency has been really useful.
Yeah. Yeah, but as you said, without being intrusive, because it's quite daunting already to manage the workload when you're home with the distractions of being home, but also being alone or being with too much people around that are not working with you. So it's quite an art to find the right balance and the right tone in this. And I think that Emakina did a superb job.
What is there any advice in here about, because I know we're a very collaborative organization, and in the office we're continually talking to each other and asking questions and advice, because there's a lot of experts of different domains, and in digital usually you need to bring those different experts together, so it's very quick for us to do that. Is there anything about how we've managed to keep that ability to get information from each other and connect with each other, given the fact we're now sort of spread out in our various houses across the Netherlands?
Yeah, that's where the tools support you. But so we've been experimenting with Mural. So all the frameworks we use for the collaboration workshops, from ideation to sprint planning, help us a lot. And the usual tools that we use, like Jira and Confluence, that were already very much established, of course they help. What I notice is that you have no way out of being sort of in a constant conference call, because working with each other is not only finding you in the shared canvas in the tool where you're doing your ideas or designs or planning, but we still need to talk a lot to each other and to double check, are we talking about the same thing? And this happens also face to face, you know it as good as I do, but
it's part of the job. Yeah.
Situation, it's like if a workshop that we will normally do with a group of 10 people from the customer and us, we will get it done in 6 to 8 hours. It's totally unrealistic to do that nowadays. So you need to break up that session. Preparation beforehand is key. So you need to have these very quick calls with a group or with a smaller group to define what are you doing next, and that we're all in the same page. And at the beginning, of course, we did mistakes. You're rushing into a workshop. But the nice thing of this is that we're all in the same situation and we can take a step back, and it's not a big deal like when you are in the same room, right?
I wonder if there's lessons in there for when we stop having to isolate and we get back into the office. There's probably some good practice we can do to be a bit more, get alignment a bit faster in those situations. How would you, in terms of then the benefits of doing all this, without being too broad, I guess in particular, I'm kind of interested in, because part of the job of an agency is to help our clients. Have you seen that this approach has provided benefits then that have gone on to our clients?
It's maybe not as tangible as the services that we provide in terms of designing e-com experience, of optimizing sales online and things like that, but it's more like it becomes learning by experience. So people come in a workshop, although we brief them beforehand, then they really see how we prepare, the tools we use and the methodologies we follow, and then they want to do it also themselves. So I think that's where you see the results, where people are asking you for help and trying to mimic the same in their environment. It's all about finding if you have to summarize this, finding the right balance, that you also leave the door open for the people in your team to come up with ideas to keep this feeling of connection. Yeah.